Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Small Business Chat. We're here this morning. We have my lovely co-host, Karen. How are you, Karen?
Yep, fine, thank you. Fine, thank you.
And we have a guest on our show today. It's Tamsin Crimmens. Hello, Tamsin. How are you?
Thanks for inviting me. I'm excited.
Oh, we're excited to have you because what we want to talk about on this show is the art of copywriting. And with most of our marketing services, what we actually want to share is how much work goes on behind the scenes. Often both that Karen and I, and even you, Tamsin, I'm sure that when a client will come to us and they'll need copywriting services, they'll just go, oh, I just need somebody just to put a few words on paper. Just bash out a few words. That's all I need. Just a couple of blogs, blah, 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 a couple of posts. And I wish it was that easy. But actually there is a lot of skill, talent and creativity and knowledge involved in copywriting, really good, strong copywriting. So today's chat, we wanted to talk about what's really involved, but also to give you as business owners a much better perspective into what to ask your copywriter and how to work best with them. So, Tamsin, let's hear a little bit more about yourself first, because we met on a mastermind and I've always been wowed by Tamsin's creativity, copy, and as a business owner as well. I always loved it. We share the same journeys, and like all of us, we're very raw and vulnerable. There's no polished versions here, is there? Tell it how it is, the ups and downs. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
Okay, well, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Well, I've actually been writing, I'm one of those cliched people who would say I've been writing like as soon as I came out of the womb. It's definitely a natural God-given talent that I've honed over many years. So studied English literature, and I started my career in a think tank as a press officer. So I got a really intense initiation into how to take complicated research and information and put it into press releases that would then get onto front pages of national newspapers, which was very exciting and gratifying. So I really kind of honed the craft of how do you, in the smallest number of words possible, get the most eye-catching, emotional, reaction-giving sentence. And I've basically been doing that ever since for lots of different things. So I went from there. I wanted to kind of express my own voice more, and I had absolutely no into this kind of creative writing world, publishing, magazines, anything like that. So I entered the Elle magazine writing competition when I was about 24 and was one of the winners. And I really milked that opportunity for everything it was worth. I went down, met the editors, got in with them, was mentored. I'm still mentored by, she's now Sunday Times Style magazine editor, because they saw a kernel of talent. So I kind of rushed to London, immersed myself in the journalism world, and interviewed lots of celebrities, people like Caitlin Moran and Stella McCartney, and it was all very kind of glamorous and exciting. And then, had a sort of spiritual awakening and ran off to India and sort of took myself down a different path and started writing more just about my own journey. And that kind of took me really into holding space for others. And I've been doing that. That's kind of what brought me to the mastermind, and learning how to help people express themselves. And it's so wonderful because now I found myself in this incredible, it sort of happened by accident, but it's so beautiful because I've found a way to use my skills as a storyteller, as a writer, honed with lots of magazines, Elle, Grazia, wrote for The Guardian, The Telegraph, Sunday Times Style magazine, obviously had to make some money because journalism doesn't pay that well. So was writing for big brands like Swarovski, LK Bennett, so many. And now I get to take all of that and serve really amazing legacy-led, soul-led, mainly women, in fact, all women, who run their own businesses. And I get to hold the space for them to say what they want to say, but hone it and craft it so that their message is really clear. Because the truth is, as business owners, we're very close to our businesses. We can't often see the wood for the trees, and working with a copywriter or anyone who's really skilled at holding space and can bring things out of you really helps to hone your key messages so that you can be consistent and people know what you're all about online, because it's noisy out there. And it does take a lot to stand out.
And also, like, you've summed it up beautifully in the sense of how to keep it concise. Because once a business owner, we would have all seen this in networking, when you ask somebody what they do and they go on for about 5 minutes and you're just like, I still don't understand what you do. And to be able to, and this is where copywriting comes in, one sentence. Oh, wow, got it. And actually, so Tamsin is still helping us in the mastermind, Jim Wentz mastermind. So under Consistency Club, Tamsin's our go-to. So whenever we need, like, I still need help, even though I've been in PR and I write. There are times where I'm so in my business, as you said, that I'm going to be, now I know that you're there, it's like amazing. I can just ask you to have a look at it. And there might be a case of, but what do you need me to do after I've read this? Like, oh yeah, I mean, so busy with the words and the keywords that I'm not too sure. And also the way that things have changed from a digital perspective. You know, we can't just write blogs anymore. There has to be keywords in there. There has to be some elements that I'm sure that when you're writing blogs, you have to remember all of these elements from a digital perspective, not just from an enjoyment perspective of just reading very nice copy. There's a certain skill set to that from to make sure that your business is searchable, your content is searchable and relatable. I mean, so what would you say in terms of copy across marketing? It's so vast. Like, why is it so essential? What have you found to be the key, I suppose?
Well, I think there's so many elements to your marketing, but say you've got some kind of lovely snazzy branding and you've got a gorgeous look and feel, and somebody's attracted to your brand. That's one step, and it's a vital step, but it's the words that are going to get people to actually take the action that you need them to take. And it's the words that are going to give people the emotional connection. And like you say, there's so many kinds of parts of it. SEO, yes, it's very important. So you drive lots and lots of traffic to your website. Then what happens when they're there? You know, it's the words and the stories once they're on there that's going to keep them there. And that's really what Google wants as well. They want people who are going to click around and be reading everything. And for me, I'm all about the tactics. And yes, they're scattered into everything. It's natural to me now because I've been honing the craft for a very long time. But ultimately, it's how are people feeling when they're on your website? They're going to keep looking around because they're getting something that they need. Mm-hmm. And that's done by, well, what I would say is, in the most interesting websites are the ones that have a sense of vulnerability. They're going to be showing you something that you can't get elsewhere. There's so many blogs, so many websites saying the same things. And to stand out, you have to be creating that emotional connection. And there's lots of different elements that go into that. But I think when you're, so many people are scared of writing. They've got wounds from childhood. People have told them they're not good. Maybe they couldn't spell, whatever it is. And they're scared of expressing their business, their goals, their mission, how they really help, how they change people's lives. And I come along and I don't have any ick factor about selling. You know, I'm just like, you have an incredible service or product. It is a crime to not get it in front of the people who need it. And we need to let them know really clearly how this is going to change the way that they feel, because ultimately that is what we're all selling, is something is going to change how people feel. So that's, I really come at it from, yes, all of the tactics, but it's something much, much deeper. Words are incredibly powerful. And I mean, I wish that we lived in a world where everybody felt really confident to express themselves in exactly the way that they needed to. But I've just been practicing for longer, I think.
Yeah. I think that really rings true for me, because I've had a lot of people saying, from going at it from that SEO point of view, and it's like, it's about the keywords and making sure, if you're using a plugin like Yoast, that it's getting the green light every time. And it's like, but what do you do? What are you sacrificing while you're doing that? Yeah. You know, because then it becomes not emotional, like you say. It's all about the keywords and getting that green traffic light. And there's so much, like you said, you might get the person to the excuse me, to the website, but then what's happening next? And for me, it's more important, I think, to, like you say, write it a lot more naturally. And Google recognize this now, that it is readable, that people are engaging, that they're staying quite long on that page. And that is also another SEO tick box. So it's not just about the keywords, it's about actually how engaged they are with that content and how long they're actually staying on the site. So I think there's that good balance there that people need to realize.
Definitely. And the common problems that I have people coming to me with is they're really confused about all of the kind of SEO side of things. Also, they don't have the time. I think that is one of the major things, that actually it takes time to write high quality content that people are going to go, I love this. I want to go to your about page. I want to find out all about the business. I want to know your mission. What are you selling? How can I work with you? That doesn't take 5 minutes. I've been doing this for a very long time. I have to sit down and write it. Never mind all of the processes that go into actually being able to, like I say, express yourself, because the gremlins in people's minds are so noisy, and it just stops you from being able to get those words out. And actually, these are things that are, like I say, these are really important services and products that we're selling. And it's so important to be able to tell people, this is for you. This is for exactly you. And I think we talked briefly about tips, and it's the biggest tip that I have for if you're going to be working with a copywriter. You must do your research. You have to come to them with, I know exactly who my people are. I know exactly what their pains and their problems are. We can dig into that. But if you've done all of that work underneath, it makes my job so much easier, because you need to know exactly how your people speak. How are they describing their problems and their dreams in their own words? That's when you get people on your page going, oh my God, you're in my head. Like, how have you done that? It's like, well, because I've been listening.
And actually, that's one of the things that I have found just incredible about other businesses that I've wanted to work with. Or in fact, that's how I found our mentor. I literally read her page, our business coach. I read her page and I went, oh my God, it's like you've read my diary. Dear diary. It's just everything that I've been scared about, or I've been frustrated about, or annoyed about. It just was all on the page. And I just thought, wow, tick, tick, tick. Which actually brings me on to the next question, really, I suppose, is that for me, and especially with Karen, we were all very much a case of there is a point where you can learn something, and we want to know enough to be dangerous and know what to do and how to do it, absolutely, and understand the basics. But there will come a point where you just have to outsource. And for me, for the types of businesses that I work, there's no way that they're going to have the time to learn all of this. But I still want them to know a little bit more. So the question would be, can anyone do it? And at what point do you feel like, they should be speaking to you? Because I think that sometimes the mental barriers, for one, as you mentioned, I see that with certain clients. And I just think we're going to spend so much time. I could give you all the content ideas, but if you're not going to feel confident in doing it because you need to do some more mindset work or really go deep and find out what these issues are, you're never going to get it done. You'll just procrastinate the entire time. Yeah. What's your tip there, I suppose, of when people, why should they not suffer? Why should they contact you or another copywriter, for example? What would they recognize?
Well, if you're not, if you feel like you're going to have a nervous breakdown when you need to write a blog or an email or a social media post and you're not getting anything out, that's a real problem for your business. I really love the story of Gemma Went, our business mentor. As soon as she hired, I'm her copywriter now, but she used to have a different one. And as soon as she hired at the beginning of her business a copywriter, because she was so terrified of writing, it set her free. The pressure was off to start to express herself, and she does so wonderfully now. She's got a very clear voice. So there's one sort of magical thing that can happen, is you start to feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I do, like my brand does have a voice and I can say things, especially when the pressure is off for having regular content going out. I think that's one of the things that people come to me, they don't have the time, they don't have the discipline, they don't have the words necessarily, but most of the people that I work with know their stuff so much that they can talk about it for hours. So I developed a kind of methodology with my clients where I actually interview them. So I take those skills from my time as a journalist, and use their natural voice and use that. And Brene Brown uses that technique. You know, she loves to speak and tell stories, but she finds sitting down and writing really difficult. So she will record herself telling stories and then transcribe it. So that's my kind of unique, I don't know anybody else who's doing it like that. But when you're kind of at that point where you're like, I know that my marketing machine is not getting fed with content. You know, people are not getting driven to the website. I know why put money on Facebook ads if you haven't tested your words to know that they actually get people to take action? What a waste of money. So if you're wanting to scale, you're wanting to make more impact, you're wanting to drive more traffic and know that when they get there, it's actually going to convert, then you need another set of eyes. With the best one in the world, you need another set of eyes. So that would be the point that I would say you need to think about outsourcing. And when you do that, the best things that I'd say, there's three things really. First is know your audience, know them really, really well. Do all of that market research before, so that you know who you're talking to, because you have to do that. Your copywriter can help you and ask lots of questions, but that's on you and your marketing team potentially. You also need to know your goals. Like what a lot of people will say, oh yeah, my goal is to have one blog going out every week. Like, that's not a goal. That's a tactic. What's this for? What's the purpose? What's the mission? How am I supporting that mission? Because it might be that actually a blog isn't the thing that you need to be going out. We need to kind of think about what's really important. Maybe it could be anything. It could be repurposing your content and making it work harder for you if you have a podcast, for example. And then you need to do your research and find somebody who understands you and your brand. Like, I'm very clear. I work with mission-driven women who want to change the world. You know, like, I work with people of integrity, who have their mission is far bigger than wanting to make 7 figures or whatever it might be. We understand each other in that way, and there's a shorthand there. And then very simply, you need to look at their writing and look at their stuff. Does their stuff move you in some way? Because there's so many words. We're reading so many words all day, especially as online entrepreneurs. We're constantly. Yeah. And a lot of them are pretty boring. So you really need to, if somebody is making you feel something, they know what they're doing. So look at that. And if there's something that's resonating with you, use the heart as well as the head, I would say. Yes, look at their credentials, look at, you know, who they've worked for, testimonials, who they're trusted by. But really it has to be like, are you actually connected? Because that person's going to be speaking in your voice. And that's a really big responsibility. So you need to make sure that you connect with each other.
Oh, those are great tips, aren't they, Karen?
That's really good tips. Yeah,
I can listen to you all the time, but also it for me, this is why it's so important to have you on here, because it is so much. There is so much more work that goes on behind the scenes, that actually, when they're looking at costs, they might just think, oh, I'll just do it myself. But actually, for that cost, to make sure that things are getting done in the right way, and you're promoting yourself and building up your reputation in such a solid way, I just could not recommend it highly enough, really. So, I mean, I think that really gives us a really good sense of working with you and almost what your process is. So I think that's kind of round it up quite quickly. So I'm just wondering, Karen, if you had any more, because again, from a website perspective, you know the importance from that stage, and I know it from the media side, like all throughout, from comms, from internal comms, you know, trade comms, all of that. So it makes it really, we're quite linked in how we use copywriting. So has this been quite good for you and your clients, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Karen and I were just saying about what the why is it called copywriter? Because I really think that it's just writing. Everything is just writing, you know.
Yeah, it is a strange thing, because copy implies, you're copying something, but you're not. You're coming up with something quite unique as well, aren't you? And one of the things, I think probably the last thing was that I wanted to ask you, actually, that came up through the conversation, was the coming up with the strap line for your site, or doing at a networking meeting when you're standing up saying that. Do you help people with that?
Yeah, and I mean it's not a 5-minute job. You're going to be going. It's again. I'm interviewing somebody and getting it all. Their whole backstory, all of those strange little quirks and idio. I can't say that word, but all those little things that that you don't think of. It's them that make you unique, and there's a reason why advertising copywriters get paid massive amounts, because they can sell things in huge quantities with like 5 words. I mean, just do it.
Yeah. It's so hard though. I mean, just do it, but they're big brand and they've got massive budgets, and then that becomes recognizable. For someone who's just quite a small business, I would love to have a 3-word thing, but people would go, what the hell is that? We don't know you. You've got to explain a bit more about what you do. So mine's like quite long, and I'm just like, oh, I wish I could shorten it.
What is yours?
Well, creating an impact with website strategies designed for eco-conscious business owners. So it's quite long, but I'm trying to it's not really a strap line. It's more my unique, my elevator pitch or unique value proposition, but it's trying to get everything into that one sentence: who I serve, what I do, and what makes it different, or what's the benefit they're going to get. And I always keep changing it.
Well, I think that is a good thing to do. Just keep seeing your words, and editing is an absolute art. And one day you might. This is the thing where hiring somebody outside who can just look at it and kind of pull a few things out quite quickly. It's quite difficult to do when you're so close to your business, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You make me else want to hire you now.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful, really insightful, and I think hopefully it's been helpful to you guys that are watching this either live or on the replay. So Tamsin, what's the best way to get in touch with you if people wanted to know more? We've got your website. It's the Tamsin Crimmens.
TamsinCrimmens.co.uk. Yeah,
we'll put the link underneath the chat as well. But yes, thank you so much. I think that has been highly valuable. And thank you for joining us this week, and we will see you next week, same time, Wednesday at 10 a.m. But thank you guys, and have a good rest of the week. Take care.
Bye-bye.